I never wanted to go back to my grandmother's house. Too many memories, too many silences between rooms. But when she passed last summer and left the house to my mother, we had to clean it out before selling. The house smelled the same, like dust, lavender, and something I could never quite place. My mom, being too emotional to go, sent me with a list. Box up the books, clear out the closets, check the attic. The attic, it was exactly as I remembered. Steep wooden stairs, a creaking door, insulation half exposed, and shafts of light slicing through broken slats. Most of it was junk, yellowing newspapers, old photographs, boxes of clothes. But tucked in the far corner, half hidden under a moth-eaten quilt, was a small trunk, heavy, locked. The lock wasn't a typical padlock. It was old iron, almost ornamental, the kind of thing you'd see in a museum. I called my mom to ask if she knew anything about it. Silence. Then, leave it. Why? It's just, old stuff. Sentimental. Let it go. That was not an answer. My mom wasn't sentimental. She threw away birthday cards the day after our birthdays. That night, I didn't sleep. Something about the trunk wouldn't let me. So the next morning, I drove to a locksmith. It took him 20 minutes to get it open. Inside, there were papers, dozens of them, old letters tied in a faded blue ribbon, and underneath them, a stack of photographs, black and white, some color, all faded. But that wasn't the worst part. At the bottom of the trunk, wrapped in a dish towel, was a birth certificate. It had my grandmother's name as the mother, but the baby's name and the father's were names I had never heard in my life. And the birth date? Exactly 9 months after my grandmother's trip to the coast in 1961. I stared at the birth certificate for a long time. My hands started shaking like my body understood the weight of it before my mind could. The baby's name was Eleanor Grace, born May 3rd, 1962. Mother, Margaret Lillian Beckett, my grandmother. Father, unknown. I texted my mom a photo of the document with just one word. Explain? No response. I tried calling, straight to voicemail. I sat there in my car with the trunk open, the birth certificate in my lap, and felt this cold ripple crawl through my spine. Why was this hidden? Who was Eleanor Grace? And why had no one ever mentioned her? That night, my mom finally called. Her voice was stiff, like she'd been crying but was too tired to keep going. She was my sister, she said. You told me you were an only child. I am, she said too quickly, then added, at least I was supposed to be. She wouldn't say more on the phone, only that I needed to come over. When I got there, she was in the kitchen, staring out the window like the past was standing on the lawn. She died before I was born, she said. That's what I was told. She was sick. That's why no one ever talked about her. But there's no death certificate, I said. Mom's face went pale. What? I found her birth certificate. No death record, no obituary, nothing. She went quiet, then whispered something I almost didn't hear. My mother used to say things in her sleep, about a girl with long dark hair, about locking the door, about keeping her quiet. The next day I returned to the house, not because I wanted to, but because something told me there was more. I climbed back into the attic and looked around more carefully. I knocked on the walls, the floorboards. I didn't know what I was looking for exactly. Maybe another trunk, maybe bones. I know how that sounds. Then I noticed something odd, a section of the wall that looked slightly newer than the rest. The nails were silver, not rusted like the others. And there was a seam, a thin line where the panel didn't quite match. I pried it loose with a crowbar. Behind it was a narrow, dark crawl space. The smell hit me first. Old wood, mold, something metallic. Inside, I found a blanket, a single worn shoe, crayon drawings taped to the interior wall, and a small porcelain doll with its face cracked clean down the middle. This wasn't just storage. Someone had lived here. I backed out, heart racing. There was a moment, a long moment, where I thought I heard something. Breathing, maybe, or the memory of breathing. I called my mom again, demanded the truth. This time she told me everything. You weren't supposed to know, she said. No one was. My mother got pregnant at 17. Back then it was shameful. They sent her away to some religious home for girls, and when she came back, she pretended the baby had died. But she hadn't. Eleanor was different. Not slow exactly, but she didn't talk, didn't make eye contact. My grandfather was ashamed, said they couldn't raise a creature, so they kept her hidden, first in the cellar, then the attic. She lived in the attic, I asked. For years, she whispered. And then? My mother didn't answer right away. Then she said, one day she was just gone. She was gone, my mother repeated, eyes empty. I waited, not sure if she meant Eleanor had run away, died, been taken. But she didn't add anything. Did she die here? I asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she stood, walked to a cabinet, and pulled out a small wooden box. Inside, an old cassette tape. It was labeled in shaky handwriting, E, last recording. She handed it to me. I've never listened to it. I couldn't. I didn't say anything, just took it. Later that night, back at my apartment, I borrowed an old tape player from a neighbor and slid the cassette in. The audio was crackly, warped with age, but beneath the static, a girl was humming, a soft, lilting melody, childlike. Then a voice, my grandmother's. Be still, Eleanor. Be good now. This is how we keep you safe. Another voice, faint, a girl's whisper. Don't want to be alone. Then, silence. Long, endless. Finally, the recorder must have been left running because I heard footsteps, heavy ones. Something dragged. A door creaked. A single shuddering breath. Then a thud. Then nothing. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I returned to the attic. This time, I brought a flashlight and gloves. I followed the crawl space deeper. Toward the far wall, I noticed a loose floorboard. It had a faint stain, almost invisible. I pried it up. Beneath it, bones. Small, fragile, human. I called the police. What followed was weeks of investigation, DNA testing, questioning. They confirmed the remains belonged to a female child, approximately aged 10 to 12, likely deceased over 50 years ago. The case was declared a historical death. No charges filed, no arrests. Everyone responsible was either dead or too old to prosecute. My mother stopped speaking to me after that. She said I'd tarnished the family name, but I don't regret it. I gave Eleanor a name, a headstone, a place in the world. She wasn't a secret anymore. She was a girl, a sister, a life, and now she was free.